Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny, Medicare App, Backend API, Node.js inside. Today we need to developing this here. Chat user list API need to develop here. First of all, need to create here the post methods app dot post underscore slash API slash app slash chat user underscore list. Use this here the two callback parameters request and response. Need to return these functions and these function operators. Like we need to write down here. First of all, we need to check here the access token request dot headers and to pass this here the response and to get if here the valid users, then to get this here the user data need to retrieve here. Otherwise need to return this here the unauthorized access. We need to returning these functions, these methods, and need to check helper dot check valid parameters. Need to pass here the response request object request. Maybe need to save here where request object is equal to request dot body, and also need to print this here this log. We need to use here directly this here class. Okay, yes, now need to check here the socket underscore id. If valid, then to get this here the callback these functions. Now update this here the socket I list like here. Need to call here. So now need to write down here the db query. This is the big query. We need to first we need to write down here the also need to use this here the base counts name last message also need to show here. That's why I need to creating here the big query, most important query inside the getting here the user list. Need to multiple joins, inner joins, left joins need to use here inside this query. Now first of all need to write down here the structures result and return here the result like here. Now if error, then to call this here the helper dot throw html errors response result and returning this here. If need to print this here the error logs temporary, need to set this here the showing here the result of the gets. Now need to request dot json get here status set here one. Then after need to get this here the payload. Need to write down here the result like here. Now we need to write down here the query, here the most important parts of this code. Now write down here first select query, select, need to call this here the ud and with this here the column names user underscore id ud dot need to need this here the first name last names need to needs here, so need to copy and paste this here with here need this here the image again, so need to copy this here copy here paste this here like here. Create here the double quote and fix this here the error like here. From it to get here the user underscore details as ud Like we need to get this here the list, create here the another query for inner joins. Need to call here to write down here, create here the brackets, joins, quotes over these inner joins, brackets over here, like here. Inside we need to write down here the select query again. So we need to write here select created date, then after message type underscore type, then after we need this here the message, then after set here the case conditions for here when sender underscore id question mark, then receiver id vice versa. We need to retrieving this here the users informations, receiver id else parts sender id score id, and conditions need to set here as user underscore id, because we need to get this here the identify here the user connect id. Need to find out for this. We need to write down here the conditions. If sender is self, then to return this here the receivers. If receiver is the current users, then to sender id you need to returns. Like we need to set here the conditions. We need to get this here the opponent's user. We need to user id. We need to find out here in message. Like we need to write down here the user id getting here. So to write down here the prompt and to write down here the chat message detail table, and write down here the where conditions chat underscore id in. Need to call here the another select query, write down here select next chat id, because need to need this here the last chat message need to showing here. That's one to write down here chat underscore id for these brackets, like here. Max we need to get some to this value from, need to message details like here, and we need to write down here the where conditions status less than 3, and create here the brackets, pass this here the sender underscore id, and we need to write down here the or conditions receiver id, and status more than -1, bigger than -1. Like we need to write down here the brackets, two brackets completes after. So we need to call this here the group by by set here the conditions case when need to use this here this case conditions, this group by. Like here we need to write down here the find out here the max ID of chat ID for the specific users. Need to getting here, and over this here the brackets of the case conditions need to done here, and one brackets others need to call here, and this brackets also need to close here for this end. Need to we need to write down here the one more brackets. We need to fix this here issue and set like this here's two brackets. Like here the setting, we need to set this here for this query, and now this inner joins need to give this here the one name. So we need to set here as we need to set here the CM chat message short names on. We need to write down here the CM dot set here the user underscore ID equal to, need to call here ud dot user underscore ID. Like this we need to set here the inner conditions. Now need to write down here the left join. For the base counts need to need this here the left joins. Need to call here create here the another brackets. Need to write down here the select query right here count chat ID chat underscore ID, like here's as base count and sender ID underscore ID equal to, as we need to set here the user underscore ID from chat message detail tables. Need to set here the where conditions. We need to pass this here the receiver ID and status is equal to 0. And to write down here the group by. Need to set here sender underscore ID as set the base count BC on table names. We need to set this here the CM dot user underscore ID equal to BC dot underscore user ID. Like we need to set here the conditions for this inner joins left joins. Now main where conditions we need to apply here, where ud dot status. We need to set here the one means active and order by cm dot slash created date descending order. Like we need to setting here, and now need to pass here the one by ones query value. Need to write down here user object dot user underscore ID, then another parameters user dot user underscore ID, then user underscore ID, then user underscore user ID. Need to set here the 5 times. We need to need here because 5 question marks. We need to put this here like here. Now need to save, and to get this here the data, and to get this here the chat user list with here the base parameters. Now also need to write down here this value of the passing this here the conditions. Need to if here null, set here the conditions. If null cm dot message, and to set this here the blank, as I need to give this here the message. Same as need to creating here the message tabs. Again, so need to copy here, paste this here. Now need to write down here the message tab. Set here by default 1 and message type like here set, and created dates also needs, again so need to copy here these functions and need to set here created date, need to set here the now, if not found then to like this set series. And last ones we need to count here the base counts, need to again so need to copy here, paste this here bc, and we need to write down here the column names base count. If not found, so need to set here the 0, set here base count columns. Now need to save these years. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment section, so I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.